What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Old Fashioned Podcast, episode 37. I am Clintus, and I'm joined today by the new baby daddy, Mike.
What's up,
buddy?
guys? What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Not new. I mean, it's number two. It's number two.
Take two.
The newest baby daddy, right? Paul, last week, 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
2 weeks ago. Yeah. So we're just kind of like rotating everybody. Kevin's out today. He's busy as always, running stuff, doing things.
Yeah, right. It feels like an endless rotation right now. In fact, you are the most consistent.
I ain't got nothing going on, man. My kids are all old, and today they're going to the water park. They're like, we're out later, deuces.
Good for
my daughter
them.
drives, so she's like, I don't even need you guys. Just Venmo the money to us, you know.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah, they are.
Two things. I apologize in advance if my PC is loud as fuck.
No,
But my fans sound like an airplane taking off. For whatever reason in this house, the insulation in the attic is absolutely horrific. And it is a solid 10 degrees hotter on the second floor than it is on the bottom floor.
Ooh.
Like, it is noticeably different. Like, borderline aggressive with the heat up here. And so my PC, which I've never had to deal with in the past, ever, I always keep my setups in the basement where it's the absolute coolest. And I don't care what whatever game I'm on, my GPU, CPU temps never hit above 62C. Ever. And I'm still running a 1080 Ti.
Wow.
But so with this house, man, it's just the insulation upstairs in the attic's just not that great. Don't worry. You can call me Ritzy now, Ritzy Rob, if you will. I have an attic fan coming next week.
Ooh.
I know, man. I'm stepping my game up. I know.
That's like when I moved into this house. The first thing I did was install a mini split. Like,
See?
we were doing the backyard and everything. And my last house, I had planned on doing that too. But the problem is my office was in the front of the house, so the pipes would have to literally run into the front of the house. And I was like, ugh. And I wasn't sure like how concealed they can make it and everything.
Right.
So I just
Yeah,
never got
worry
around
about
to
curb
it.
appeal, man. Curb appeal.
Yeah, exactly. So I just never pulled the trigger on it. And then of course we moved, shortly after that, so it wasn't a big deal. So we bought this house, and I was like, all right, cool. I got two walls that are like in my backyard, so like I could totally do whatever. And we're doing like the electricity for like the hot tub and everything. I was like, wrap it all in. I want a mini split right here. I don't care. I totally overpaid for it, but it was just like one and done, right? Like the electrician brought it in. He brought his contractors in. Yep. I could have got it for like half price at Home Depot, but I was like, kind of like the story you're talking about with your brake pads earlier. Like, if I would have, you know what I'm saying? If I would have been like,
paying that markup,
unit,
man,
install it, they would have been like,
Yep. You paying that markup, man. So that's another thing I have. We have a great electrician. He is the man. The man. I'll call him for something. I'm having an issue. He will legitimately help me troubleshoot it. He'll be like, listen, try X, Y, and Z first. If you can't get it to work, then go ahead and call me. If you can, I just taught you something new. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's the man. He's awesome. So we called him up, and I said, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. He goes, yes, attic fan. So my next question was, do I want one or two? And he goes, well, let's just get one really fucking big one. Install that. He said, if it's still not enough, I have two gable vents on either side. I'll install powered gable vents. So we'll have three.
There you go.
Constantly humming. Get that shit out. And then come the winter, I'll probably head up when it's cooler. And I'll pack some more insulation up there.
There you go.
But otherwise, the move's going great, man. I have become a lumberjack. I don't know if you know that. I'm not certified yet, but I'm on my way.
You're working on it.
Are you using an axe, or are you doing the big saw?
Both.
Ooh.
Both. I got myself a sweet ass chainsaw. I had a specific one in mind. I'm like, I'm a homeowner. I will be bucking my firewood for the house because we have a wood burning stove coming. Nice. So we're gonna swap out the mason fireplace into a wood burning stove. So I'll be, taking care of my own firewood. So I had in mind, residential chainsaw.
Right.
So I called a local dealer, and asked if they had any in stock. They're like, no, we don't, but we have the next one up with a 20-inch blade. So I was like, what's the price look like on that? So they gave me the price, and I was like, ooh, I'll think about it. I'll call you back. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll try to call around and ask. I looked into it a little more. It turns out they gave me a discount on it and everything. I was like, yep, just fucking give it to me. So it's like a professional fucking grade
Nice.
chainsaw.
See, around here, man, it's desert. We have trees, obviously, and like when we have big monsoons, like last weekend, we had crazy monsoon that came in. You wake up in the morning and there's just trees down everywhere, right? Trees just get blown down because they're just not used. Like the root systems are not deep because they're always looking for water. So you get this really crazy winds mixed with some rain, or like it rained the couple days prior, so the ground's super wet and then just the wind comes, just rips stuff out
right down.
So it's like it takes weeks. They chop them down right away, but then you have like stumps and stuff that's ripped out, halfway. Like I just went on a walk this morning and it's like half ripped out roots and stumps because they're like, well, we got the tree out of the way, but now we have to figure out what we'll do with this thing,
Yep.
So yeah, no chainsaws around here, but at least not like for maintenance. It's for like damage control.
Right. No, it's legit. I had it out the other day. Love it. My in-laws have like 2 acres of just wooded land that they're nice. It needs to be cleared out. And then my sister and brother-in-law, they got like 5 or 6 acres, and it's all wooded. They do the same thing. So he's like, yeah, no, come on down, man. We'll get some trees down.
I'm just curious because my mom refused to have a wood like fireplace stove in the house. My dad loves them. My dad built one in the house he built for my parents. What's the reasoning behind getting one? I mean, like, I'm young, so like pitch me on having a wood burning stove in the house.
What I deal with that you guys don't deal with is very cold winters. Okay. So I have an oil furnace right now, and oil is just astronomical, and I don't want to pay that. So
it's incredible.
Yeah. So I have a big masonry fireplace in the house right now. And really all a masonry fireplace is good for is aesthetics. It looks good. It's like great during Christmas time, and you can sit back and just watch the open flame. It is not efficient. And if you're going to use it to heat a house, it's not. It's not efficient to heat a house. You're going to go through way more wood, and the heat won't move really beyond that room. So you get a wood burning stove, concentrates the heat, way more efficient, and you have the blower that comes out. The other advantage is when the power goes out, because it's just inevitable, it will. I have a heat source without electric. So we're good there, right?
Yeah,
that makes a lot of
sense. The fuel source costs me nothing other than my time.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing here, in the metropolitan Phoenix area, like at least where I've grown up, I've always lived in like newer neighborhoods. Like when I was in high school, which was in the 90s, the house we lived in was, maybe 10 years old, 12 years old in the 80s. So it wasn't wasn't too old. And then I built my first house, lived there for 14 years, 16, moved into a house that was only like 8 years old. And then my third house is another brand new build. So I've always lived in newish builds. And of course, here in Arizona, everyone has central AC. Like there's just the fact that when I learned that people who lived in like, I don't know, Seattle or New York didn't have air conditioning, I kind of scratched my head. I'm like, doesn't it get hot there? Like what?
It's hit or miss here, dude. Some houses have central, some don't.
Right. And that's also like why you see like, the window units and stuff like that. But it's just, I always kind of scratch my head. I'm like, okay, I understand if you live in like a high-rise building, right? Or a building that has like multiple levels because, it's just old school architecture that just didn't build central air. But yeah, it was just one of those things where I kind of scratched my head because I'm like, I don't understand. I've always had air conditioning. We just always, here I've always had air conditioning. And so then even like now, like, the problems with the power in like Texas and like, the problems you're having over there where they lose power for like weeks, or that winter, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
where
they got hit hard.
Yeah. And then even like here in U too, like, power going out, worrying about like heat and stuff like that. It's just things that kind of like I've never had to deal with living here. Cause like I can't, in this house, never lost power. Granted, I've only been here for about 2 years, so never lost power. My last house never lost power. And in the 14 years in my previous house, maybe once or twice, like,
damn,
it's not
a good experience.
Never have an issue like losing power. So it's never something like where I always had to like worry about power outages and, stocking up on this and that. And,
my old house, if a cloud pissed and farted in the direction, I lost power. gone.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is I never had to worry about that. And now granted, I have some flashlights, in certain locations in case something happens. And
Sure.
I want to say one time it got bad where like the power was out for multiple hours, like a transformer blew up or something, right? And of course now it's like it's getting hot in the house, it's uncomfortable, and now we got to worry about our food in the refrigerator. And so like we packed up a bag, we went to like my mom's house or my in-laws house for the night, just because it was uncomfortable being hot, sweaty. And thankfully we didn't lose too much food. I think it was, a couple of things we tossed just for safety measures. But yeah, good experience. Like when I hear these stories, I'm always like, this is crazy.
Lucky, dude. It's so bad here so most people have generator hookups. It's most, I would say probably 7 out of 10 will have the generators now. And it's to the point where a lot of people, it's very popular to have whole home generators now. Generac system is the most popular. But yeah, that's actually something I would love to upgrade my house with a whole home. Bare minimum, I need a generator. I would like a generator, if for nothing else, to have the refrigerators hooked up on it.
Sure,
if for nothing else, have the refrigerators hooked up on it. It'll be a low fuel cost. Plug it in, and at least our food is good. I have so much camping and backpacking equipment that if I had to, we're good. We can cook on my other stoves. I have, Coleman propane tanks for my grills, my car camping grills. We're good. We're good. But to keep everything set, I would like it bare minimum have those hooked up on a generator. But that's something everyone around here, you have to be prepared for. This house, I don't know where I sit in the power line. So I haven't experienced the storms we've had so far here have been very minor, and we haven't had any power issues. Maybe I'll get to, experience it this year. But yeah, I don't know. So I have to figure out where I sit in the line, see how reliable it is here. Yeah, we have to definitely consider that. It's a pain in the ass.
Real quick, I failed on my intro duties to remind everybody that the episode is sponsored by King's Coast Coffee. I'm wearing the shirt. I got that shirt on, and I'm drinking some Aztec Reserve. But the big announcement, obviously, I think we talked about it last week, is tomorrow when this episode goes out, or I'll just say the date, July 29th, the Kona Prime pre-orders start. So I know a lot of people are excited about that. Big fans of Kona coffee.
Did you guys check out Wayne's little info session on that?
I was just gonna say Wayne did an awesome video, man, over on Instagram and TikTok talking about what Kona coffee is. And I mean, I even learned something. I knew what Kona coffee was, but I didn't know the details of that. And
other companies bringing the bullshit, not KC.
Yeah.
Not KC.
So check it out, kingscoastcoffee.com. And like I said, the pre-orders go online on the 29th for the Kona coffee. It's limited run as usual. It's the estate collection. It's always limited. And so I know a lot of people are baited on that. And you can subscribe on the website, so you get first dibs on that usually, and insider information, and all, get all the emails, all the goodies and stuff like that.
You want to do
and
it.
Last thing too, I know we fail to say this, and then this isn't for me, but if you're buying King's Coast Coffee, do a quick little search on Twitter. There are tons of great content creators that are affiliated with King's Coast. You can use a promo code. You save a little bit. You get a discount on your coffee. You help support that creator. So if you're watching a streamer or a YouTuber,
good point.
Just do a quick search. I thought that out there. Like I have a code, but that's not my point. My point is I'm sure you watch somebody. I'm sure you know somebody that's affiliated with King's Coast.
Is there a list or a link anywhere that has all the affiliates?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know if they have one on their website. Like they've got get
that posted, or at least, or if we could shout out the link here at some point.
I'll figure it out.
Like I said, it's just a lot of creators have codes, and so just a quick search on Twitter, you could find one, just save some money, and like I said, help support them as well. So that's something we never thought I'd kind of throw out there. There's like there's
good idea
codes out there. So anyway, Mike,
yes,
baby, you got a baby number 2.
I know, man.
How's it going? How's things going? How's your wife? How's the little one?
Wife is great. We had a little bit of a scare. So my wife was supposed to be induced. She had well, I don't know. She had gestational diabetes, which is common in during pregnancies. It's basically diabetes during pregnancy. And that's it. So when that happens, they don't want you to go full term. They want you to between week 39 and week 40. Like that's it. That's when we want baby. So we had scheduled which was awesome. It's like, great. We're scheduled. I can request time off. We're good. Joke's on me. July and August apparently is the most popular time to have a baby. To the point where we were bumped 3 times because they were just so full. They would regularly have between 17 and 20 babies a night at this hospital.
Damn.
Yeah. So I was like, damn. So they had to leave beds available for, people who are actively in labor and emergency. Right? Because it's the maternity wing. Like they have to, if somebody comes in labor, what are you going to do? Sorry? So as frustrating as it was to get bumped, and trust me, I was frustrated and annoyed. My wife started experiencing pain, and there was just, as we got bumped, it just became more infuriating to me because her status was fluctuating. She was getting pain. She started spiking a fever. Shit started getting weird with the pregnancy. So we rushed. Eventually, she ended up going into labor herself and rushed in, and everything looked good. Everything looked good until it didn't. And the doctor came in and was like, she looked good, not great, and now she's looking not so good. So my wife got rushed in for an emergency C-section.
Emergency C-section buddies. High five.
There you go, man. Dude, my gut sunk, dude.
Dude, I made a phone call, was crying on the phone with my best friend for about 5 minutes, and then I got put back in the OR room.
Yeah, I was like, what? So, but our doctor, she was awesome. She was so on it. She's like, listen, I've been watching the monitor. I don't like it. Let's go. It's go time. I don't like it. Let's just do it. Doctor was awesome. She was so good on the spot with everything. I think as soon as she told us that, I think within 15 minutes, that includes my 5-minute wait in my OR waiting room. She was in the room, sliced open. Baby came out. Paul, did they give you the little spiel beforehand?
Which part? Okay,
about the not crying.
No,
dude, Clintus, did you experience a C?
No. Ours are both natural, but I think I know what you're talking about.
So I was prepped.
Yeah,
at least 3 times. Listen, C-sections are considered. It's not on the baby's time frame. Basically, it's not in the baby's time, and so when the baby comes out, the baby doesn't realize it's out because it's not when it wants to be out. Makes sense. Oh, right?
Yeah. No,
Nature,
so ours was expedited in a different way. So I'll tell you why I didn't get that information.
Okay, fair. So real quick,
we
were told, don't expect your baby to cry. It could take like 60 seconds. Don't think because in my mind, right? I would, because I'm over, my gut is in my butthole right now.
Yep.
And I am, is everything okay? Because you know how hospitals are. They give you need to know information limited so you don't become erratic.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what is that like? What if it's stillborn? Like, you start freaking out.
Yep.
So the doctor told me it's normal. The baby needs to kind of reboot. It could take a minute for the baby to realize it is out. So I was like, okay, give it a second. Dude, she came out screaming, letting everyone know she was here from jump. And she was, and she was great, and she was healthy, and everything looked awesome. And
awesome.
She's good. And Mama's good. It was incredible. The doctor I can't say it enough. She was amazing. Every nurse we had was amazing, super helpful, super informative. It was a great experience through and through, minus the pucker factor. Believe it or not, we were home in like 2 or 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. She's C-section right now.
It's pretty good for C-section.
Yeah,
man.
So the reason I didn't get that information is, I'll give you a quick timeline. Water broke at 6 a.m. on its own, which is really good because she was like 40, just over 40 weeks at that point, and wasn't coming. And so the doctor's like, okay, let's just keep you till this afternoon. If it doesn't happen this afternoon, we're going to start giving the induction meds. And so water broke at 6 a.m. on its own, which was great. Skip forward to about noon, 1 o'clock. Lily, they go, well, she's not like oriented properly, so we got to put Lily on her side. Put her on her side. Heart rate drops from 140 to 80.
Oh no!
Instantly. Yep. So they flip her back on her other side. We're Gucci. Round 1:30, they do it again. Same thing happens. She's like, well, this isn't looking really good, so we're going to go in for a normal C-section because it doesn't look like she wants to turn and there's something going on. 145, 150. They go, let's start packing up to get you ready to go. 45 seconds later, after I finish putting on my OR gown, heart rate just straight drops. Dead, back down to 80. Like literally instantaneously, this moment she's on her back. They go, cool, we're getting her in the room, we're going out right now. Literally, that was the last information I heard from the doctors, basically, was because they were like, we're going right now. Like, scoot.
Okay, that makes that makes sense.
Should we get back in the room? I get back into the OR room. They sit me down and go, her heart rate's still dropping, so we're going right now. Sit right there, don't move, everything is going to be moving around you. And that was like the last information I had until the doctor, here go, slice open. Next 3 words were, why is that in your hand? It was her umbilical cord. She was gripping it tighter than whatever, like, and pulling on it like a choo-choo train whistle, like the trucker's whistle.
Oh my God.
And it was also wrapped around her neck. The doctor's like, why is that around your neck? Why are you holding on to that? Of course you can't breathe. And then pull her out.
Jeez.
About 5 seconds later, here, baby good. Literally sat down. Yep. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
10 seconds later, mom is good, no internal bleeding. Oh God.
When the doctor comes in and says, yeah, baby's slowing, baby's not moving, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I have to say, I was spoiled with Grayson, my son. Just we had, I mean, other than him, we had no issues other than him being huge.
Yeah.
Huge. My kid was over 9 pounds, my son.
Damn.
Yeah, he was big. And my wife is small. So other than he was just easy.
Yeah.
We had no issues and everything. I say that as the dad who's just sitting in the room, right?
Yeah.
My wife went through a 27-hour labor with him. So for me, it was easy. For her, not so much.
Yeah.
But no issues. And with my daughter, man, just scared the shit out of me.
Yep.
I feel you, dude. I feel you.
So that's why I didn't get she doesn't cry for about 60 seconds. It's normal. Lily, on the other hand.
Isn't it weird, though, being in that OR room? It is nothing but frantic, and they let you in there, which is cool because you want to see the baby.
Yeah.
But there is just so much going on in a very short time frame to allow this random layman to be in an operating room, right? Like, literally sit there, don't move because it is a whirlwind around you.
The worst part for me was actually that Lily was, because they had to slow her contractions earlier in the afternoon because like the heart rate kept dropping because of some of that stuff, and so she was already hyped up on heart rate got faster and her blood pressure spiked on purpose so that like baby'd have an easier time. And so as they're starting the C-section, on top of her nerves, on top of the heart rate and everything else, she is literally shaking like a leaf. And I'm like sitting here doing, I can't do anything for my wife.
Nothing.
Much less the baby. Like, and so you're just sitting there like panicked, being like, I can't do anything. I'm just sitting, hold my hand, babe. Dude. And then she's like, I can't even hold your hand because I'm shaking. And you're like, ah.
Dude, the most, because you know how they have that veil up so that blood doesn't splatter in their face and everything else because it's a whole thing. And so my wife can't see. She knows the baby's out, but she can't see. So I'm like over the blue veil, man. I'm just snap. And because I want her to see the baby, right? Not realizing her stomach's cut open and I'm getting that in the frame. And I'm like, check it out.
Guts are over on the table.
Yeah, Lily didn't want that. So I didn't do that. So she didn't hear baby in her mind because she's hyped up on the meds. Like that was the other thing that was a weird thing is like, their sense of time is completely gone during that whole experience. That like your 45 seconds is like whatever it is in their mind. So she's I feel like I didn't hear baby for like 5 minutes and was panicking, like all that stuff too. So, you know,
it was
becoming a
weird.
dad is an experience apparently.
Oh yeah, my two were natural. First one was like super fast. Like we showed up at the hospital. My wife didn't want to go because she was afraid to make the drive and wake everybody up because it was like 1 a.m. or something. And I was like, I'm timing the contractions. Like, no. It's baby time. Let's go. We get there. They check her. She's like already at 9. They're like, oh yeah, like it's go time. And I was like, oh, should I call everybody? They're like, oh, if they're not here, they're probably not going to make it. I was like, what? So of course I call moms and sister and like, hey, baby time. You know, we're at the hospital. Get here when you get here. But she had time to get her epidural, but it was like, as soon as the epidural was in, everything was like, we're good. All right, let's do this. Pop the balloon. Baby was out. Like
that's like easy. Baby number 4 time frame.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, this is baby 1, so super easy in and out. My only story Two stories. One was when the baby was coming out, and of course, first time they're like, "Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to see this? Do you want to feel that?" Like, to me and my wife, right? The only thing my wife freaked out about is, because of course she's numb down there, right, with the epidural, is like, "Do you want to feel the baby's head?" So she throws her hand down there and she feels the baby's head coming out, and she like almost like had to like, oh, like, because she could feel that was her leg, but she couldn't feel her leg, and she couldn't feel, but she feels the baby, and she's like, oh, like, what the fuck? Like, one of those moments, right? That was her thing. And mine was, do you want to cut the umbilical cord? I'm like, yeah, sure. I go in there to cut it, and I shit you not, it crunched and squirt the doctor in the face. she did the whole, I mean, she's got glasses on, but nothing on her face, right? Her mask is already off, whatever. She just got the goggles on. It hit her right in the, like this. She just did the whole, like, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, it happens. It's fine.
Her doctor was great too. Like,
oh man!
Like I said, the first words when she was pulling out, why is that around your hand?
That's awesome.
So
baby number 2 was a lot longer. He was a little earlier. Like, so I want to say my daughter was 2 weeks early, and my son was almost 4 weeks early. Like just past the 4-week mark, so not too bad. But he didn't want to come out. That was like a long walking the hospital all night, scenario.
Back when you could do that.
Yeah. So walked the hospital, and because it was like one of those, like, she was far enough along and have enough contractions, they didn't want to send her home. But it was definitely like, we need some time, and so he was born like at, I don't know. She went to work. My wife worked all the way up to babies, like both times. In fact, the second time she was at work when she started having contractions. Her parents picked her up and took her to the hospital. I got our daughter to sister-in-law's house, and then met her there. And this was like at maybe 7 p.m. and he wasn't born till like 5 something the next day. So
dude, that was probably the most like, not worrisome, but like monkey wrench is, what do you do with the other kids because you used to be able to bring them in the hospital. You can't anymore.
Yeah.
And where we were, they don't allow anyone under 18. So it was like, what do we do? And it was like a last minute thing. And the people, like my in-laws that we had lined up to watch him, were like doing their thing. And I drove from the house. Allie's like, get him in the car. We're going. I was like, cool. So I threw him in the car. And she just told my in-laws, like, meet us at the hospital. It is like, we're not waiting. I'm not waiting.
What it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. Mm-hmm. So we're driving down. It was the classic, freaking out in the car, and like my son's like, what's going on? Yeah, it was a scene, but we got there. Everything worked out.
Right on. Well, man, that's awesome. I'm happy. It's always happy when you hear the good stories, and like, the adrenaline rush, like you said, the drop of your stomach for a second, because you're like, oh, everything okay?
Yep.
But then you come on the back end and everything's like good. Man,
and I've said this before, for long time listeners, you know what has been going on with me and my wife. And basically, baby 2 for us has been over 3 years in the making. It's just been difficulty after life-threatening, just lots, right? Mm-hmm. I'm and I told my wife, like, after one, I was like, you're good, you're healthy, he's healthy. I can't lose you, because we almost did. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until she was like, this, I really want this. Okay. Like, who am I to say no to that? So I was like, all right, well, we started our 3-year journey then, and here we are. And having my gut drop again, dude, I'm done. I'm done.
I hear you, man.
I'm tapped out. It is beyond terrifying to me. That scares me. It scares me. Legitimately scares me. And not only for her, but for the child. It's horrifying, man.
Man.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Snip me, fucking cut it, whatever. Burn it, whatever it is you need to do, do it.
That's actually something we because that's the common conversation that, coming from my YouTube days and vlogging my family, my kids growing up, it's always been like, you guys have another one, you should have another one, you guys have more kids, like, And, we had some financial woes early. We were early parents. We had our kids in our early 20s. We were married at 21, 22, and had our kids at 22, 23. Like, bam, bam, bam. We wanted to be parents, right? Like, we were high school sweethearts, went through college, bought a house, got married, like the whole storybook, like chapter 1, chapter 2, like we did that, right? So it was like my last day of college was the day we found out we were pregnant with our first kid. It was like, bam, 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 moving on to the next chapter, right?
Jeez, you wasted no time.
And to be honest, we both wanted to be parents. Both our parents were young parents. So like seeing our parents, like, oh yeah, that's how they did it.
So were mine, yeah.
Yeah. And then literally that's all my wife wanted to be. Like, that's all. She just wanted to be a mom. Like, there was no ambitions of going to college and being a doctor or being a teacher. Like, I want to be a mom. So, I was like, yeah, sure, let's start trying. First month, done. Like, we got pregnant.
Bam, thank you, man.
So, we had our kids young, and then, fast forward to our 30s, YouTube's doing its thing. I'm doing my thing. And it's like, or we start talking about having kids in another kid. And it was one of those, like, all our friends were having a third, right? All our kids were about the same age. Within a year, all our kids are the same age, all our friends from high school and stuff. And they're all having round 3. And we talked about it, but my cutoff was if my daughter hit 10 years old, I don't want more than a 10-year gap. Like, that's just too big of a gap, in my opinion, right? Tiffany, her oldest sister, she's the youngest of 4, and her oldest sister is 12 years older than her. And she does not have any memories really of her being at home.
Like, that's she tough, man. How do you build like a solid relationship, right?
They honestly did not have a really solid relationship until she had her first kid at 40. And then there was some relatability there. We'd see on the holidays and vacations, and everything was cool and cordial, but they just didn't have that relationship outside of that.
Right.
Until she became a mom, was like more, they had a connection now, and now everything's great. But she just lives across the country. We just never, everyone else is here. So just like talking about having another kid, like I said, I was like cut off at 10 years. And when we start seeing our friends at round 3, we're just kind of like, I think we're good. Like, because we waited long enough. We waited long enough to have, not have another, like, reset, right? Hit that reset button, right? I feel like when your kids are young enough, there's enough relatability there with the toys and what they can and can't do, and babysitters and stuff like that. It's like, cool, we can have another one. It's just, we're just kind of turning the dial back a little bit. But when they get to a certain point, it's like, do you really want to hit that reset button and go all the way back?
Go back to budgeting diapers, budgeting baby food, budgeting wipes. Budgeting sleep.
Exactly.
Nailed it.
So we got to the point where we hit the 10-year mark, and I looked at her and I said, all right, this is it. Like, are you good? Like, I told her straight up. I said, I'm good either way. If you said I want another one, I'm down. If you said I'm done, I'm down. When we were dating, I wanted 4 because I was like, 2's not enough and 3's an odd number. And then we had one, and I was like, 2 might be good. I had the first, I was like, 2 might be good.
I'm one of 4, and I loved it. And we are all basically 22 months to 24 months apart, all 4 of us.
Yep.
So my mom went through hell, had toddlers all like at the same 4 toddlers basically at the same time. Like, it was crazy for her. One of 4 was awesome. Had a great time. Lots of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Grown up, it's pretty helpful now. But no, man, I can't.
Yep.
I'm good.
So we're at the point now where now I have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, and the wife's on birth control for just regulation periods, and just because she's just always been on it, no big deal. But I told her, I'm like, I'm so ready. If we're like we at this point we are for sure not having any more kids. I'm like, I'll go get snipped. Like, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, you've done your time, right, kind of thing. And honestly too, like, with everything that's been going on, something in the back of my mind too is just like, make it official, just get it.
Which
get
even still, it's not that official.
It's not 100%. Yeah, I know. But I feel like it's my turn.
She was on that thing. It was like 99.98% efficient. Works. Don't have to worry about anything. Not me. Not me.
Punched right through there,
dude. That 0.02%. That was us. So I call dog shit on this advertisement.
Yeah, I will add on to that.
Yeah,
also.
Dog shit.
Same.
Yep.
Yeah. So I told my wife, like, I'll get it done. I should look into it and get it official and make it happen.
I will. My cousin had his second, and dude, like, immediately following, he's like, nope, do it. Yep. And he's like, you could smell it. You could smell it happening. It's not that bad, but afterwards, it's a little rough, but worth it.
A couple days, yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
man.
I've definitely I've smelt my flesh burn before, so I'm good.
I'm there. Sign me up.
Well, so you got the everything's back getting, the new normal, right? How's the sleep schedule?
She's good, man. She'll wake up every couple hours. She eats every 2 to 3 hours. She is just, and she will feed for like 15 minutes aside.
Yeah.
She's like a solid feeder.
Okay.
My wife is up, every 2 or 3 hours she's up. Because I don't have those things,
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, man, she's good. As far normal is as normal does, I guess, because we did the new house and the baby at the same time.
Bam,
so
bam, bam.
it is far from what our life was before, but it's kind of nice because our life was never going to be the same anyways. So we get to
all the
start
change
a new
at
norm.
once.
Yep. Complete change all at once. We get to start our new norm at a new place, especially just everything across the board, because my son starts kindergarten this year. So it's just everything is brand new. We're just clean slate. Let's just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off, right?
Oh yeah.
So well, I'll come back and let you know what the norm is.
So are you getting some downtime to like watch some shows or movies or something, like while you're during the feedings, or no?
Nope.
No.
So I got 2 of the 3 storage units completely emptied.
Okay.
The third one is getting there. I don't want to pay that $500-$600 a month fee anymore. Damn, is it expensive to store things. But between all the work that needs to get done at the house, everything that I have going on, moving stuff in and out, and my wife can't really do anything. She's not allowed to drive.
Yeah, she's still healing. Yeah.
She's not allowed to drive, according to the doctor, until she can hard brake without experiencing pain. Ooh. So she can't drive. She can't really lift anything much heavier than the baby. She's very limited, and she shouldn't be going like up and down a whole lot. So while she's on the healing, on the mend, I'm kind of doing stuff. And then you have my 5-year-old son who still needs to be entertained, and he needs to feel, involved, and we need to make sure that we're including.
How's he doing? How's he doing with like the new baby, but also like, hey, mommy can't pick you up. Mommy can't, like, is he understanding it?
Oh yeah. And he wants to hold the baby.
Oh, good.
So he wants to be so involved. He wants to be helpful. So all the time, I want to hold her. So we'll put him on the couch with a little pillow thing, and she loves him, and he just sits there with her. It's great.
Awesome.
It's great. So he's doing. So it's between that and my property is just so overgrown. Everything needs work. I've just been nonstop. Go.
Not a lot of downtime.
Nope. Just non.
Makes sense.
Stop.
It's the timing.
Man, if it's not like a room has to be painted or trim has to be redone, it's drywall has to get fixed, it's move these boxes from here to there, we need to build closet organizers, I got tree limbs in the back that are rotting, need to be cut down, I need to be trimmed back, I got my yard that needs to be taken care of. Everything. I mean, you name it, I'm doing it. It's been nutty.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good that your son's 5, right? So he's starting kindergarten.
Yeah.
So that's a good age. He's more understanding of what's going on. Like my daughter was only 2.5 when the son was born. So
he gets it. And it's as much as you can talk to a 5-year-old about it, but I can say something to him and explain why things are happening. And he, for the most part, generally, I think, understands
it. He understands enough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like enough. Like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
So you just try to include him. But yeah, he's great. And he's going to start something brand new with school and meet friends. And yeah, it'll be good.
And actually timing that on that probably is solid, because then he goes to school and now it's just the baby. And there's a little bit of it.
Exactly.
Yep. Because I think if the baby would come even 6 months later, where she had 6 months of sending him off and then her home alone, that might, because that was definitely a thing for my wife when my son when he started school. It was like, because she worked part-time as a server, so she would have the days off and she worked nights, right? And so it's like during the day, all the kids are after school, and she's kind of like, what am I supposed to do now? Like she didn't have to do it with herself, right? For 5 years or 7 years, she's had kids and running around and stuff. So when he went to school, it was like, oh, I guess I'll just talk to the dog. And that's what she said too. Like the dog was like her companion when the kids went to school and stuff. So yeah. Right on, man. Well,
It's
I,
interesting.
on the other hand, have been just trying. I'll put emphasis on try, air quotes there. Trying to binge watch and catch up on shows. You know, when I joined the podcast, the first thing I watched to be able to discuss it was Arcane, right? Loved that show. That was great. And then the next thing you guys got me onto was Stranger Things. And I had an intention to watch it eventually. Like I have a long list of shows, but I was like, oh, there's more pressing matters. But because you know, the next season was coming out and it was a big deal. And then talking to you guys, I was like, all right, I'll binge watch this. So I started from scratch, like, I don't know what was a month ago, 2 months ago at this point, maybe,
It's long,
and
man.
watched, you know, all 4 seasons. And so I was a little behind this last season. Because I know it was volume 1, volume 2. I was still I started season 3 when like volume 1 had come out. So I was still into season 3. I had to get all of season 3 done when everyone was watching volume 1. Finished that, got into volume 1 when volume 2 dropped. So I was only slightly, you know, at that point about a month behind. And thankfully I didn't get any spoilers, like 0 spoilers. I saw things but didn't know what they meant. So like, you know, I saw Max with her eyes rolled back. I was like, I don't know what that means, but okay. There's the big meme, right, of the headphones. I saw a picture of a guy in makeup. Didn't know who it was, didn't know what it represented, but it was something about like the makeup that he had to go through and stuff like that. I'm like, that's obviously some villain, some character. Okay, but doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I got real lucky. And honestly, as far as behind as I am on shows in general, across the board, I just somehow I look out and I don't get spoilers. I'm not actively looking for news. I'm not actively looking for anything. And if I see an ad or something to hit my timeline, I just kind of scroll past it. I don't give it time to like pop me.
Good.
But there's a lot of shows like that. Like I'm done with Stranger Things. Right now I'm watching Moon Knight. I'm in the middle of Moon Knight. And then I plan on just going right into Miss Marvel, just kind of getting done with Marvel, right? Because I know She-Hulk's coming out in August. So I just kind of get caught up on Marvel. And then swing back to Star Wars and finish Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan, right? So like I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get all caught up on this. And once I'm caught up on like the main franchises, right? The Marvel, the Star Wars. There's so many other shows I want to watch and dip into. And you know,
The Witcher? Did we put that? It's on the list. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. It's on there. I mean, like, so I have a lot. And the funny thing is, my daughter gives me shit for this all the time too, because she'll come downstairs and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, blah 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 movie." And she's like, "Why aren't you watching this show?" And I'm like, "I'm just more of a movie person because I know it's just like this. Even if it's a 3-hour movie, I'm gonna get through the whole thing in one take, right? Like even if it's 3 hours. Whereas a show, I sat there sometimes watching Stranger Things. I'm 4 episodes in. And I'm like, it's fucking 2 a.m. I got to go to bed. But like,
you feel like you haven't even made a dent. I know.
I'm not satisfied. I'm like, well, now what happens? Because they do that hook, right? They hook you for the next episode. It's like, and so that almost gets me where it's like, I don't want to start an episode because I'm like, is it going to end well? Or is it going to hook me for the next one? And I'm hooked in for another, you know, and again, even if it's 3 hours, I don't feel satisfied at the end of that 3 hours because there's another one. And I'm like, it's almost like a psychological thing where I talk myself out of watching TV shows.
But that was the nice thing, right? That was what was so nice about the old way of you only got an episode.
You only got to one episode. Yeah.
That was it. Whether you wanted more or not, that's all you got. Right. Yep. And we said this before, like way back when we first started with the Arcane, the way they did things in series of 3s, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's kind of a nice happy medium, right? Yeah. But when you can binge, it's I want to keep going. I want to keep going until you realize it's 6 o'clock in the morning and you got to go to work.
It's so stupid. Like I said, I literally talk myself out of watching it. It's like, I want to, I know it's gonna be good, but it's just like, I have to like commit to it. Right. It's so, when I say it out loud, it sounds stupid.
Well, no, because it gets even worse because a lot of these shows now, you talk about volume 2, right? How long were the episodes of volume 2?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are movies.
So well, that's what I'm saying. You have like Game of Thrones, like super long episodes are becoming, I don't want to say norm, but definitely reoccurring a lot more. And when you have becoming episodes like that, man.
Yeah, well, it's like not a surprise anymore. Like I don't know what the term for that is, but it's like not the normal, but it's like it's 2 episodes. Okay, no big deal. Like it's okay.
So before it was
it's becoming acceptable.
Right. So a sitcom was what, 30 minutes, 45
Right.
minutes, including commercials. So you had
Mhm.
20, whatever your actual runtime was, cut down without commercials, a lot shorter. Right.
Yep.
And that's what you got on Netflix. You got the sitcoms without the commercials. The episodes could bing, 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 bing. You bang them babies out.
Yep.
Not anymore, man. Not anymore.
Yep.
So you were heavily time invested into it.
Yep.
I know. I feel you.
But it was good. It was worth it. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. Both my kids loved season 3. That was like their episode, the season they loved the most. And I'm like, oh, it's the summer episode. You know, the kids are all doing their thing, you know, in the mall and everything. It was a great season. But yeah, great show. Loved it. Looking forward to the next. I'm gonna watch the new season when it comes out on time.
Let me ask you this: since you started, right, relatively recent,
Yeah.
short time ago, I rewatched I started to rewatch them all because I wanted to be completely refreshed for season 4.
Yep.
Watching season 1 for me, and I don't want to sound super critical because they're kids. They were kids. They were super young. They were kids in it. Holy shit, is the acting cringe. Dude, it is so, when I watch them deliver lines, I'm like, oh my God, it hurts. No, that wasn't good. You should have done another take.
Another take on that one.
That was cringe. It's just some of them, it just comes off like that. And I know I'm being super critical because they are children. But
Honestly,
if you go back and you rewatch season 1, there are moments where I'm just like, ooh, no.
Yeah.
It felt cringe, dude.
Honestly, though, I think Mike, the actor that does Mike, like he was one that got me a few times where it was like, yeah, it was almost like he had a line and he was like, I'm not sure how to like deliver it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, I'm being incredibly critical over children trying to hone a skill, but as I'm rewatching it, where maybe I didn't notice it the first time or I wasn't paying attention, the second, third time watching through, oh, is it evident?
Yeah.
It's very clear. I was like, oh, so I was wondering if maybe you watching it the first time, if it was lost or if you noticed it.
I mean, there was definitely some weird, janky, you know, and yeah, with the kids specifically. Some kids are more natural than others. Like just, I think with anything in life, right? Like some people are more natural at doing something than others. And others are like really trying to hard and force it. But at the same time, like you said, they're kids, and you know, it's in the 80s, and so I feel like maybe it almost it felt like that, like they weren't seasoned.
Fit.
Yeah, the awkwardness fit exactly because it was awkward. Like their haircuts, their clothes. Like,
well, sure. I mean, you know, is what it is. But yeah, man, I don't know. I watched it and I was like, oh,
yep. I loved, so the you know, going through the seasons, everything was great. I'm trying to remember what my one complaint that I told my kids, because again, my kids had all watched them and they loved them, and so they were all excited that I was watching them. So we like caught up at the dinner table, or you know, the next day I'm like, oh, I watched these episodes. The first, like, so I started season 2 and season 3, and the first episode didn't hook me, right? So I started the new season. I told them like, oh yeah, I'm starting season 2. I watched one episode, and that's all I watched because I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed. You know, I'm not like hooked to like watch another episode, right? It felt like it took 2 to 3 episodes in season 2 and season 3 to really get it stride and get me going into it. Whereas like season 1, after the first episode, when you first see Elle use her powers, you're like, oh shit, this is like supernatural. Like this is science fiction. Like this isn't just like an 80s, you know, period piece, right?
Right.
Whereas like season 2 was kind of flat, first episode. Season 3, at least there was like the whole Russian, you know, spy thing. You're like, oh, okay, this is intriguing. This is a little different. Cool, right? But season 4 felt like, okay, the first episode already had some elements of like, ooh, okay, I'm intrigued now. What's going on with this person? What's going on with that? Like, I was a little more into it. It's always funny how they split everybody up, like right from the get-go, and the whole season, everyone's like just not working together, but working on the same thing. And then they all kind of come back together, but then they all split back up again. You're like, what the, you know? But I thought that season 4 had the best like new character introduction. Argyle is my dude. I love Argyle. Fucking pizza and weed, man. Just I love that guy. And then Eddie obviously was a crowd favorite. He was dope. He was awesome. He represented a lot of that hair metal, 80s vibe. And so I thought just the way that this season went, of course, the way it ended, you're kind of like, I'm curious now what's going to happen next. Like, I think season 5 is supposed to be the last one, right?
I think so, yes.
The next one's supposed to be the last one.
I'm sure if we're wrong, we'll be violently corrected.
Sure. And I also heard too, this is also hearsay because I don't like actively look up and research stuff, but I heard it's supposed to be in the 90s. It's like we're transcending out of the 80s into the 90s. And
that would be a good wrap up, wouldn't it?
Yep. So it'd be interesting to see what happens just because of the way that the season ended, like in the real world physically, right? Like, okay. So I'm into it now. And I'm like I said, I'm like all the rest of you guys where I have to wait for the next season.
Yeah. What I guess you just said it. You're going through you're finishing up Marvel. Okay, we'll come back because you're talking about timeline. I'm interested because The Witcher season 1 has, if you know anything about the lore or the books, or the story, the way everything happens.
I know nothing. Never played the games, never read the books.
Season 1 of The Witcher, the timeline is super janky.
Okay.
They time skip and time jump back and forth. The entire,
and they don't tell you, and there's no clues, there's no visual indicator that you're time jumping. It just goes scene to scene. So season 1 is super janky. Enjoy it for what it is, but understand that the story, the actual lore, the timeline is all over the damn place. Season 2, phenomenal. And they heard it, the critics, and they fixed it. They fixed it in season 2, but
I still haven't seen it.
Keep that in mind.
Good to know. Yeah, like I said, I got a long list of shows, and it keeps getting added to because new shit's coming out all the time, And I kind of told myself the other night when I sat down and I started Moon Knight. I'm on episode 3. I said, you know what? You just need to you want to watch these shows, so just watch these shows. Like, why are you talking yourself out of it, right? I'll go through the movies and I'm like, there's nothing really on, and I'll go watch an older movie that I know I like, and it's like when you're just being stupid, And so, like I said, the Marvel and the Star Wars is kind of like what I'm on top of my mind, just because they're bigger franchises and at least they tie in with each other. Man.
Knock them out.
Then like The Expanse, The Boys, Lost in Space. I love sci-fi.
I am not caught up on The Boys. Hold on.
Kevin actually just finished a watch party on Twitch with the final season. Final season for season 3.
Well, and I know Kevin also mentioned that new show Resident Evil. That's something he wanted to watch.
I need to watch that as well.
I'm waiting for more Invincible.
When is season 3 coming out for The Witcher? Maybe we can line that up.
Yeah, see that as far as the show is concerned, if there's like shows that you guys you're definitely going to watch and you definitely want to talk about, like Arcane, I just need to know that and I'll prioritize, move stuff around.
There is no official date. It's being speculated 2023. Okay.
Yeah. Like another show, I like sci-fi. Sci-fi is my favorite genre, and of the subgenre, cyberpunk is my favorite. So like when I watched Altered Carbon, I was like, oh, I love this show. This is great. And they're like, it's canceled. I'm like, fuck. Like, and I don't think there's any, as far as I know, and correct, anyone can chime in on this. Shoot me on Twitter if you know one. There are no current shows being made that are like cyberpunk, quote unquote cyberpunk. I know like Westworld is in the future, and then they kind of, as far as I know, again, I haven't seen it. It's on my list, but like it's in the future. But then they they bounce back into like the fake worlds of the Western and stuff like that, which I didn't know that. I literally thought that show was like an old Western show, and but I love sci-fi, so I'm looking I love, like I said, Altered Carbon. So there's shows out there that like Altered Carbon. Like I want that. I want more.
Season 1 was great of Altered Carbon. I never went beyond season 1. I heard season 2 was meh.
Obviously,
I heard it. And
then there's an animated season 2. There's an animated spinoff.
So there's also an animated spinoff of The Witcher, which you should definitely watch.
Okay,
I don't know if you're into
the animated stuff or not. What's that?
I'm just upset Firefly died.
Firefly, yeah, that's a good one.
Sorry.
Yep. So that's what I'm in. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to, like I said, I just need to, on the weekends, I sit down and try to binge watch, whatever I can. In the evenings, it just depends on how my night goes. I might sit down and watch one episode, but my schedule's kind of been shifted a little bit. I've been getting up earlier in the mornings, so I can try to do stuff outside before it's too hot. So
yeah, I feel you.
Well, cool. Paul, you got some newsy news for us?
Let's wrap up with some of this fun news. Let's start off with the phrase and the tagline that everybody's gonna love. A nut-stealing squirrel triggers a store's burglar alarm at midnight. In England, the police responded to a burglar alarm at a DIY store and arrived to find nobody but a squirrel stealing nuts and bird food. The police officers
the fucking nut job in real life.
Yes.
Sweet.
The officers arrived to find that the alarm had been triggered by a trespassing squirrel stealing nuts and bird food. And from the official Twitter of the Norfolk Police Office in England, unfortunately, he was too quick and nimble for us and got away.
Naturally? Why would you expect you could win a foot race with a squirrel?
I don't know. I mean, it's England.
Especially in a store where he's got like 1,000 places to run and hide.
Yeah.
Come on, England. What are you doing?
Number two will also kind of stay in that European setting. According to a new discovery from the University of Bath in England, the Loch Ness Monster existence is quote unquote plausible. Basically, it's not really. The plesiosaurus fossils are found in freshwater now, which is a discovery because previously they thought the plesiosaurs and the rest of those animals stuck to saltwater. But they found bones and teeth from 3-meter long adults and an arm bone from a 1.5 meter long baby, which hints that these creatures routinely lived and fed in the freshwater alongside the frogs, crocodiles, turtles, fish, and apparently the Spinosaurus.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I saw this in the show notes and I was like, what the fuck? Is this one of those Discovery fucking mockumentaries where every make-believe thing exists? The megalodons still exist in a deep chasm where there's a fucking hot pocket of water. They're here still.
To wrap
Mermaids.
up, sharing the exciting discovery, the University of Bath stated that makes the existence of the Loch Ness Monster plausible, but the university added a rather significant caveat that the fossil research suggests, quote unquote, that after almost 150 million years, the last plesiosaurs finally died out at the same time as the dinosaurs, about 66 million years ago. So, there's just a very large caveat in that statement and newsline. So,
Yep.
And finally,
A little bit.
crooked road lines painted on California Road baffles residents. The link's in there, so if you want to look at the pictures, because it is one hell of a zigzaggy road. The mayor of California City said an error by contractors was responsible for the zigzagging lane lines on a city road that left some residents scratching their heads. The residents lit up social media with photos and videos showing a bizarre pattern of lines painted recently on Lad Lane. The yellow lines in the center of the road and the white lines were painted in a zigzag pattern instead of a typical straight line. If you
Guess who's never getting a city contract again?
Listen, it looks like somebody's heart rate monitor on the street. Like that's how bad
EKG?
it is. Yep, it looks like an EKG. So you have this like really long mini straight period, and then it zag, and then a little longer straight period. Except that straight period isn't even in line with the other zigzags that were like the other straight line. It's like halfway
crazy.
across to the side. So it's a great time. Apparently, the contractors, quote unquote, misunderstood the directions. So
How do you misunderstand that? You're outlining a road.
I don't know.
Honestly, like the way that it looks, it's like they were like watching the side of the road and they're like, it goes this way and it goes that way. Like they're not paying attention in front of them. They're like watching the side, like there's a dip over here. They can go. I don't know. It's so stupid.
What the heck? We misunderstood.
I will put all the
So, do you want a curvy road?
I will put the links to these inside the description on YouTube and Simplecast if you want to look up the fun news from this week. Throwing it back to you, Clintus, to wrap us up here.
That's hilarious. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We do appreciate it. You can listen to the podcast. Find the podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts. We also put the video up on YouTube over at the Rare Drop YouTube channel, along with all the other podcasts that the guys put out. Producer Paul and crew over there at Rare Drop do some amazing work. So go check them out. Mike, get some sleep.
Oh, not today, man.
What is sleep?
Today.
We'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye.
Later.